Hey guys, welcome back to the Dewan Moore Show, where we're keeping it political and jumping right in with the story from the Vox. Story by Kelly Swanson. The Weeds, the U.S. economy is not as great as Trump thinks it is. Behind facilitating statistics overall growth, our economy faces two crises: severe income inequality between the top 1% and bottom 50% of all earners, and the rise of highly concentrated markets. On August 23rd episode of The Weeds, Ezra Klein and Matt Yelgelstein discussed two new white papers on the state of U.S. economy. Although President Donald Trump has bragged that the U.S. has the highest stock market ever, best economy numbers in years, these papers peek back behind the economy's high numbers, spotlighting how the rich are getting richer by charging higher markups on goods and lessening competition. The first paper, from the University of Chicago, examines the country's extreme income inequality. The paper shows that individuals in the bottom half of the income distribution have been shut off from economic growth since 1980. Here's Klein with the study's shocking findings. From 1980 to 2014, the average national income per adult grew by 61% in the U.S., but the average pre-tax income of the bottom 50% of individual income earnings stagnated at about $16,000 per adult, while the income of the top 1% went up by 205%. That's a lot. The second study focused on market concentration and market power, and Yegelsey suggested that this could be the culprit for the severe income inequality experienced in the U.S. He explains that companies across all industries in the U.S. are charged more for goods, even though the price to produce these goods has not changed. Merging the findings with the two papers, Klein says, what we are seeing is painted here in a picture of economy that, on one hand, all income gains are being pulled in by the rich, and the rich are able to increase their makeup between what they produce and how much money they get for it. Sorry guys, my auto darkener's on. Hey, hi, we're back. Merging the findings from the two paper, Klein says, we are seeing painted here is a picture of an economy that, on one hand, all the income gains are being pulled in by the rich, and the rich are able to increase their markup between what they produce and how much money they get for it. On the business side, the power is being held by big corporations, and they are able to increase the amount they take home. In both cases, it doesn't seem to be doing the economy much good, you think? Eric Klein and Yegelsey, forgive me for that pronunciation, discussed the economic situation in the U.S. versus France for the bottom 50% of pre-tax inflation-adjusted incomes. Klein: in France, the story is really different. Actually, in France, the bottom 50% of real inflation-adjusted pre-tax income grew by 32% from 1980 to 2014. So in America, the bottom 50% of pre-tax stagnated. In France, it grew by 32%, which was approximately the same rate as national income per adult. So France had a slower growth, but if you are in the bottom 50%, you have gotten a lot more of it. So one thing that leads to is, while the bottom 50% of income, while 11% lower in France than in the US in 1980, they are now 16% higher. So while France is still poorer than America, including on a per person bias, you are now better off in the bottom 50% of France than you are in the bottom 50% of America. That feels pretty damning to me. Yegelsey: yes, and these guys, the authors of the paper, are French, so they pull the example out. I think to troll us, but at best we can tell France is neither the richest nor the most egalitarian European country. If you count for leisure time, these things can start to take on quite dark hue. Americans have many fewer vacation days than French people, which is a possible social trade-off, but you would expect Americans to have higher material living standards than people who get 2 months off a year. That would be a trade-off, and we are really not getting it. Particulars for people at the that would be the trade-off, and we are really not getting in particular for the people at the bottom end. Bottom line, people at the bottom end are the short end of the stick. We have been, and the only way you're going to get more stick is if you take more stick. So stop being sheeple, wake up and look at the world around you. If you like what I'm doing, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up, ring the bell. Let's grow my channel, help me grow. I'm almost to 100 subscribers. Let's see if we can get there before the end of the month. You could have spent your time anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend it here with me, and for that I'm truly thankful. I'll see you a little later today with another episode from the Dwan Moore Show. Thanks. Later.